Hey, I'm Mario. Like I said before, I know I'm not famous, and before I get negged. But today I'm going to be interviewing with Lifting for Life and No Bullshit Bodybuilding, Ian McCarthy. So here we're going to be doing an interview. I have a few
Hello,
questions for him.
guys.
So here's Ian.
Hi.
Hey, OP.
Hello.
All right, so I'll just jump right to it. First question: what pisses you off at the gym?
Uh, well, the truth is, I try not to be too bothered by what other people do at the gym because I train at LA Fitness Camp Creek, South Atlanta, which is, I think it's the biggest LA Fitness in the country, except for another one they're building in the area. If you're at a commercial gym, you have to get used to being around other people. In terms of things that annoy me, it really has to do with uh, other people getting in my way, if they're affecting me. So if it's like a matter of I'm trying to get to weights and someone's doing curls right in front of the rack, or something like doing barbell curls in the squat rack, something like that bothers me. And then also, when I see people that are doing exercises with horrendous form, it bothers me because typically if someone's doing an exercise incorrectly and you try to correct them, even if you're polite and just explain that you don't want them to get hurt, they usually will just tell you to fuck off, really. So it's kind of, do you say something and then get told off by them, or do you say nothing and then possibly watch them slip a disc? Typically, I just don't say anything because it's not going to serve any purpose, but that can get annoying. But again, I try not to worry too much about the other people, and most people in the gym I go to are very courteous, so it's not been a big issue.
I see. Curling in the squat rack. Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah, there's
we
only one power rack at the gym I train at, so if I'm going to do something, like if I want to do rack deadlifts, for example, I can only do them in that one rack. So if I see someone doing, upright rows or something in the rack, I'm like, come on.
But
Um,
Ian,
like,
you do know that it's not a squat rack; it's actually a curl rack.
yeah, whatever. I mean, I would never do upright rows. I would never use a power rack to do upright rows. So I kind of expect other people to behave the way I would behave, I guess.
Yeah, I understand that. All right, let's see. This is a question that's been on my mind, and I'm sure this is something that a lot of people think of too. Let's see. What do people do at? No, actually, wrong question. Thoughts on trainers nowadays? Personal trainers, reputable or not knowledgeable at all? Do you
Well,
believe that they take the extra step to actually learn, or do you believe it's just a very basic, hey, I'll just teach you a few new workouts and all right, cool, have a nice day?
personal trainers get a lot of flack from bodybuilders and just knowledgeable people in general, uh, and it's valid to an extent. What people don't realize is personal trainers. You have to think about what personal trainers are actually supposed to do. They are supposed to motivate people to be physically active for 30 minutes a few times a week, and have a general sense of how to exercise correctly. Personal trainers are not trained in nutrition. They hardly touch on nutrition at all when they train personal trainers. So when I hear people say, "Oh well, personal trainers don't know anything about nutrition," well, duh. I mean, that's not their primary purpose. Their primary purpose is to be a source of external motivation for people and to give them a general sense of how to train. So people are I would say judging them incorrectly. It's kind of like saying, why do trash men not also clean the streets? Well, that's not what they're supposed to do. That's not what they're trained to do. Uh, if it was, I'll say, a perfect world, they would actually be trained more thoroughly, and they would be trained in nutrition as well. But then, of course, you would have to pay them more. Where's the money going to come from? The membership would have to go up, or the fees for the personal trainers would have to go up. So I think the system works as well as it could possibly work. I do think that that most people that have personal trainers probably don't need them, but some people really, really benefit from having someone next to them telling them what to do. So in those cases, I'll say live and let live, honestly.
Gotcha. And obviously I wanted to save this question for last. When do you people feel at the gym stop making progress? Like you first go into the gym, you start doing your routines, and you start noticing your strength increases, etc. You start noticing some gains, and then it just seems that it all halts, that your progress halts. What do you feel you should do at that point when you feel that your progress has halted? Since many people at that point, that's when they go to trainers and look for different routines, etc. What do you believe? What advice could you give to people when they feel that their progress has halted?
Well, when you first start training, I want to wait for the siren.
Yeah. Yeah, I live in Chicago. Someone dies like every 10 seconds.
When you first start training, lifting is an entirely new stimulus, so your body is going to grow no matter how stupidly you train. You're going to get new gains to an extent. You're going to hit a wall with that after anywhere from 4 to 6, maybe 8 weeks, and then you'll plateau. And if you're new to training, that's obviously the point where you need to start training correctly, eating correctly. I mean, when you hit a plateau, the worst thing you can do is keep doing whatever you've been doing and just pray and hope that somehow it's going to work. The best thing really, when you hit a plateau, is to do the complete opposite of whatever you're doing. So when people, let's say they're doing a high volume protocol and they totally hit a wall in their progress, maybe that's a really good time for them to deload for a week and then do 4 to 6 weeks of low volume, high intensity training, focusing only on high frequency, high intensity, and progressive overload. And then do that for 4 to 6, 8 weeks, deload again, and then go back to the high volume. So the best program is the program that you're not doing, if that makes sense.
It does, and it seems that in a lot of your protocols you advise an upper-lower split. So if I may ask you, would you ever, you do a lot of, hypertrophy work, but not an upper-lower split, if I'm correct?
For me personally?
Yes. Why is that, if I can ask? Just personal preference?
My personal training is pretty, it's all over the place, so I wouldn't tell people to emulate what I do necessarily.
Gotcha. Also...
Yeah, I put out the info that is, as far as I can tell, the highest quality possible info, the highest quality advice. And as far as I'm concerned, for 99% of natural athletes, if you want to optimize your results, you need to be hitting everything twice a week, period. And that's actually fairly conservative. When you look at the research that indicates that protein synthesis is only elevated for maybe 24, maybe 36 hours after you train, in that case, you could really be training a body part every other day. So twice a week is fairly conservative from that perspective. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what I do, and there are various reasons. But ultimately, it's I'm not convinced that the way I train is optimal from a hypertrophic perspective. It's optimal overall, though, because I enjoy it more, and that's a significant portion, obviously. If you enjoy your training, you're more likely to be consistent with it, and consistency trumps everything. You could train like a complete imbecile, but if you do it consistently for 20 years, you're probably going to get some decent results.
True. Let's see. I think a lot of people have been wondering, what is the side of Ian that we don't know about? Maybe a lot of people seem to have been getting personal. It just seems that when you make a video, it's just an immediate bash. Like, this is a review product. This product is complete garbage. Look at the sign. Look at the profile on it. What are some things that people don't know about you? So people can get, I guess, interact with you more, as opposed to just thinking, you're some maybe mad scientist, as others would call it.
Oh, well, I guess there's a lot to say. Could you give me a little more specificity as to what you want? I mean, there's so many things I could talk about, so give me some scope with that so I can have an idea of where to go with it.
Okay, let's see. If you guys want to watch the second part of this, I'm going to make a part 2 since I hit 10 minutes, and I don't want to get negged by YouTube for having a longer video, so I'm going to cut this off and make a part 2.
Part 2, we talk about Ian McCarthy's personal life. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
I'm not gay. Yeah, all right, let's proceed.
All right, part 2, hold on.